Breaking first at 4, smoke seen rising from a large brush fire in Huntersville right now. It is one of 2 large brush fires burning in our area this afternoon. A live report from the scene in just minutes.
A local pastor issues a statement after his controversial remarks about women, rape, and whether men should be charged.
Trading out police officers for civilians. Charlotte City leaders could give the green light to a new program where your peers could soon be the first on the scene to respond to a crash.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Satowski.
And I'm Brian Blakely. Queen City News at 4 starts right now. And we begin with that breaking news. 2 large brush fires are burning in our area right now. First in Huntersville, where firefighters are battling a fire near Mays Road east of Interstate 77 off Sam Fur Road. Queen City News reporter Savannah Rudisell is on the scene with more details. Savannah?
Yeah, that's right, Brian. We know that this fire is large enough to require the help of multiple different agencies. We have Cornelius, Huntersville, Davidson fire crews all out here trying to work this brush fire. I want to give you a little bit of the look here at some of the smoke that kind of keeps filling up this area. This is a very windy day, so at some cases we will have this entire area just full of thick smoke. Other times, like right now, it's clearing out just a little bit. We've noticed some of the firefighters who've been mostly stationed right here at this home off of Mays Road trying to work back towards deeper into that field back there as they have been working trying to get as enough water as they possibly can back there, to the point where we know that Huntersville Fire has requested the help of either Iredell or Cabarrus County tankers to bring in more water to the area. They say that agents with the North Carolina Forest Service, they are here as well. Now, the smoke is starting to spread a little bit too, not only to this particular area of Mays Roads, but around to nearby neighbors. Look how close that this fire is to this subdivision. It's one of several here in the Huntersville area, and the neighbors that we talked to, they say they're very nervous, of course. Some of them even watching from their porches at times, saying that they were concerned about what their own homes, and more particularly just to the east of this field is a horse stable. So they're wanting to make sure that all of the livestock and all of the horses who were possibly in the way of this fire this afternoon got out. We will be speaking with officials, and just as soon as we get more information, we will share that with you right here. Reporting live in Huntersville, Savannah Rudisell, Queen City News.
All right, Savannah, thank you. A second brush fire is burning in the Midland and Harrisburg area of Cabarrus County. This one happening in a wooded area near Sternbridge Road off of Pioneer Mill Road. 14 fire stations from 3 counties and the city of Concord are on the scene right now. We're told the fire is spreading and damaging so far at least 1 structure. Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane joining us now in our Pinpoint Weather Center. And Tara, how are the winds impacting these fires this afternoon? We've seen them whipping up.
Right, and we saw Savannah's hair blowing around there. So these wind gusts clocking at around 20 to at times close to 30 miles per hour. We don't officially have any advisories or alerts in effect as they're staying under that threshold of 40 miles per hour, but still blustery enough and not helping with the brush fire situation. And firefighters out there trying to contain some of that. Of course, it's so dry. It's warm today, but we're not feeling humid in the humidity like we so often feel here in the Carolinas, for example, in the springtime and summertime when it's humid out there. But we have those dew points that are definitely in the dry zone, upper 20s to mid 30s. And so it's just all that dry brush and the dried leaves and the twigs on the ground that are leading to some of these brush fires continuing to spread. Now, the future wind gust shows how the wind speeds will settle down a little more as we go into tonight. You can see how the numbers disappear. So that's a settling wind briefly, but then they will start to kick back up again tomorrow late morning into the afternoon, pretty similar to how it feels today, and once again on Wednesday. But at the same time, we are going to have some rain coming in. Now, temperatures ahead of a cold front that will be approaching over the next couple of days, again soaring into the high 60s to lower 70s. Look at that. We've got 60s along the coast and 70s more inland. It is mostly dry. We have seen some rain passing through from time to time earlier today, and more scattered showers stretching up through the mountains along the northern tier of the state up into Virginia as well. Those are pushing off to the east, so we don't have that rain so much dropping in toward those fires in the Piedmont. But notice what happens later. We get into the night, we start to see the clouds rolling back in, so moisture does start to increase, and then hints of some of that rain that will be starting to move in. And this is just the start of an unsettled pattern. By late tomorrow morning, picking up on a couple scattered showers, and we have some heavier rain coming in, maybe a few storms again, along with more wind for the next little while here. I'll show you a timeline when to expect some of those heavier showers when we get more moisture moving in here. That's ahead in my Pinpoint weather forecast in a few minutes.
Also breaking right now, Charlotte-Mecklenburg police say they do not have a suspect in a sexual assault of an 86-year-old. It happened Saturday night at a home off Hucks Road In a news conference that just wrapped up, detectives say the suspect broke into the woman's home and then raped her. Police are asking for anyone with details to call police. Right now, they do not have any cameras showing a possible suspect. Our Daniel Pierce was at the news conference, and he'll join us live at Queen City News at 6 with many more details.
New at 4, a Monroe pastor says he is starting to understand the hurt and offense he caused after making controversial comments from the pulpit.
You ready? I said, if you dress like that and you get raped and I'm on the jury, he's going to go free. Because, you know, a man's a man.
So Queen City News first told you about the backlash Pastor Bobby Leonard is facing last week. Video that you just saw of his comments about women's clothing and sexual assault resurfaced recently on Twitter, garnering millions of views. Leonard initially posted a message on a sign at the Bible Baptist Tabernacle that read, "I am sorry for any hurt. I was wrong." But he has since released a statement saying in part, "I am only beginning to understand the hurt and offense I caused, and I take full responsibility for my words. As a pastor, I failed to uphold the biblical values of love and compassion. I apologize for the pain caused and commit to learning from making this foolish and sinful statement."
A Mecklenburg County Commissioner says he plans on appealing to Charlotte City leaders for a change in his own neighborhood. It's over issues with the cell and emergency radio service in the Palisades area. That's in Steel Creek. As Queen City News anchor Derek Dellinger found out, the service issues have been a problem for years, but nothing has been done about it.
The appeal comes from Mecklenburg County Commissioner at Large Arthur Griffin, and it comes partially as a result of a fire that happened at the home right behind me back in November. Calls for help reportedly led to some delays. Now, that fire back in November briefly trapped 3 firefighters, but neighbors noted the time it took to get first responders here, along with the steps they had to take to make it happen. Now, Mecklenburg County Commissioner Arthur Griffin lives in the Palisades neighborhood and says he plans on addressing what he says is a twofold issue. One, over the lack of reception for emergency radios, and by extension, spotty cell service, something that we've seen for ourselves out here. But he also notes the development here has also led to issues with the infrastructure. We spoke with one of the neighbors here who told us that this has been a problem for more than a decade, and individual calls to companies to get this addressed have so far not been successful.
The service is poor out here. The whatever responses that they've gotten, you know, there's never been any kind of communication to say we're trying to address this, you know, for the community, for the area, that kind of thing.
Now, to get first responders back here in November, it was a task. The steps that were taken, plus the steps that could be addressed tonight at City Council, that is coming up at 6. In Steel Creek, Derek Dellinger, Queen City News.
New at 4, soon if you get in a car wreck, an average Joe might be the one investigating your crash. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department wants to employ 16 civilian crash investigators whose sole job would be to respond to crashes that don't involve personal injuries. In 2022, officers responded to almost 24,000 property damage crashes. They're hoping these civilian crash investigators, will free up some of their resources. The upfront cost of the program would be just under $1.3 million. It would then take another $1 million to keep the program running every year. If approved by City Council, CMPD plans to implement the program starting in July. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper signed a bill into law last summer to make all of this possible. These teams can only be called to crashes to write incident reports and coordinate clearing road blockage. They will not carry a badge or a gun, and they will wear different uniforms, and they also cannot make arrests. Some North Carolina cities have already started to see the impacts of the civilian crash teams.
Loved ones said their final goodbyes to a local businessman who died last week. Wooden Robot co-founder Dan Wade's funeral service was held this afternoon. He died last Tuesday after a fall at the South End business. OSHA is investigating. A public vigil is also planned to honor Wade, but no official announcements have been made. Donald Trump has appealed the $454 million in the New York civil fraud judgment against him. Former president's lawyers filed a notice of appeal Monday, asking the state's mid-level appeals court to overturn the decision. A judge ruled he lied about his wealth to obtain loans for his business empire. The appeal ensures the legal fight will continue into the thick of the presidential primary season and likely beyond.
A federal judge says a former FBI informant charged with fabricating a multi-million-dollar bribery scheme involving President Joe Biden's family must remain behind bars while he awaits trial. Today's decision reverses a previous ruling that Alexander Smirnov could remain free but on GPS monitoring. He's charged with falsely telling his FBI handler that executives from the Ukrainian energy company Burisma had paid President Biden and Hunter Biden $5 million each around 2015. Taking a fresh look at report cards, but not the kind that students take home.
The changes state leaders are proposing about how North Carolina schools are performing.
You can see it in her eyes.
Plus, a close call on a highway. A deputy clipped by a speeding car, and it was all caught on camera.
And a new chapter for a Pineville tree nursery. How the once lush garden center will soon help fight fires across the city. You're watching Queen City News.
The most local news in Charlotte.